The emotion right now, as we wait to see what Trey Lance's availability is going to be this week, but it's clear, as Kyle Shanahan said, that Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be the starting quarterback against the Bears. I think the emotion that people feel is this fear that with this team on the brink of its season being pointless in terms of wins and losses, pointless isn't the word, but over in terms of a playoff chase, people are afraid that Kyle Shanahan's going to let the ship sink with Jimmy Garoppolo at quarterback. Is that what you're feeling from people?
Well, I saw someone on social media say, like a media member, that of course Kyle is going to go out of his way to be, claim Jimmy as the starter before the trade deadline. And my pushback is, guys, this is not fantasy football. There's a salary cap involved, and no one has $15 million of salary cap space. Or I guess Jimmy's half his salary's gone, so he's 25, it's 12 and a half. Like, people don't have that amount of money. It's why these players with these massive salaries do not get traded during the season. Part of the reason Stephon Gilmore went to the Panthers for only a 6th-round pick is there was a short list of teams that can take on that type of money. He is not a tradable player. He's not. So when Kyle's saying these things, I believe he believes them. And as a coach, you got to be careful what to say to your team. But I am a little concerned. I don't necessarily think that he believes Jimmy Garoppolo is some great player, but I do believe that he thinks he's vastly better and more important in terms of winning a game than Trey Lance right now, and that's kind of scary.
I don't know if he even thinks vastly. He might. I mean, we saw what he did when they were both healthy. He went with Jimmy and didn't really hesitate much. We'll see when Trey Lance is healthy what decisions he makes. Now, I think they're going to beat the Bears, and if they do that with Jimmy Garoppolo, then it makes it more likely that Jimmy Garoppolo is the starting quarterback the following week if Trey Lance is healthy. And we'll see this week if Trey Lance is healthy, if he works into the game at all. I think that he will. If he's healthy enough to play, I think we'll see them almost force him into the game in terms of getting in some packages. But I've heard this. So actually, before I jump ahead, let's address what you talked about, which is trade value. Trade value is not a consideration at this point. Like, you're not playing Jimmy Garoppolo for trade value. That has nothing. If they are, it's asinine. No one's trading for him. No one's giving you anything for him. And
I think a lot of 49ers feel that everything going on with the Niners right now is a little asinine. It's a little outrageous. It's just a little whack.
Well, okay, but let's just talk about this. The idea
revolving around the quarterback situation.
Yeah, but I'm saying this is on another level. The idea that trade value has anything to do with any of this. Like, it is over. It's a sunk cost. Anything you get in some theoretical trade at this point, you should consider a surprise chocolate in your sandwich bag. Like, if you're thinking about trade value right now, you're doing it wrong. Like, it is done. There's no trade. And if there is a trade, it's not for anything you want. No, it's not a trade that'll get anybody's attention. The Bleacher Report update you get will be Niners trade quarterback for pick. Click to see what round. You know the way they do it. It'll be like the Niners sign running back who once appeared in the SEC. You're like, what? Who are they talking? Did they just trade for Derrick Henry? Like, that's what they want you to think. Yeah. That's the kind of alert you're going to get. It's nothing of value. The trade conversation is dead, John. But you're right. People are talking about it like it's a factor here. The other word I've heard is like loyalty. Jimmy, this is not about loyalty. Kyle has tried to get rid of Garoppolo he's tried to replace him with Deshaun. He tried to replace him with Stafford. He ended his relationship with LaFleur. Half kidding. Because he wanted Rodgers. He just drafted a quarterback. This is not about loyalty to Garoppolo. It is not about loyalty.
I think the scary thing is, and listen, we don't know. We're recording this on Tuesday. We'll know Wednesday if he practices, and we'll know by the end of the week how, if he's limited on Wednesday, does he progress more? Is he limited all week? The moment he's fully healthy, every single human being, me, you, the dude sitting on their couch, every person that's last name is not Garoppolo and associated with the Garoppolo family does not want to see Jimmy Garoppolo ever play quarterback again, as long as Trey is physically able to play. And to me, that is kind of the elephant in the room right now. And what's scary is that, let's say Trey is not quite healthy this week, so they just say, hey, maybe he'll travel, but Sudfeld will be up, he'll be down. They go and they beat the Bears by 10-plus points, and Jimmy's good. Let's say he throws a couple touchdowns, and they just kind of look like they did the first couple weeks. Jimmy Garoppolo will start the next week. I have zero confidence that Kyle would bench him, and he mentioned this yesterday. And again, he could be lying. Coaches, what they say sometimes, it's hard to, put too much stock into is it the truth, is it not? Whoever knows. But he said Jimmy doesn't play for his job every week. I mean, it's kind of what he alluded to when he was talking to the press yesterday on a phone call. So Jimmy would start the following week, right? If he beats the Bears. I think that, and then let's say Trey's healthy by next week. That's what people just – I think Kyle made an enormous miscalculation because he was obsessed with the short term. And I think any human being in any big business that's obsessed with the short term is where you can make the gravity of your mistakes feel enormous. And to be 2-4 with Trey only having one game in feels like you went all in with Jimmy because you were just obsessed with trying to make the playoffs, and now you're not even close to making the playoffs. Thank God for Seattle, you'd be in the cellar of the NFC West. And it doesn't feel like he's willing to pivot off that anytime soon. Obviously, if they keep losing, he eventually won't have a choice, but they can Band-Aid a win here and there with Jimmy Garoppolo. So it's is Trey even going to end up getting that many games this year? They could go 6-10, and the way it plays out, I could see Trey only getting a couple starts at the end, which is scary.
Right. You're saying that 6-10, but it's there.
But at one point in time, it's 4-5. Yeah, and then it's 6-7. It's can they win 3 straight? No, and then Trey gets the last couple games. That's what's scary. And I think Kyle, we have to judge him by his actions. We'll try to win every fucking game humanly possible. And listen, I don't ever push back. I understand no coaches, and as someone that pounded the table to tank a couple years ago, because by that, in December, remember when they won that meaningless game and we were arguing, not necessarily me and you, but just people, the argument was out there.
Yeah. The
problem is, big picture, you do not have a first-round pick. The only hope your franchise has is this quarterback. And, the consumer's already turning on you. And I don't like that. I don't want – it's not that fun. I mean, thank God it's a topic to talk about, but I'd rather have this, something to build upon, and that doesn't feel like they're anywhere near doing that, which is kind of crazy given what they gave up for the kid.
Yeah. I think I'm not convinced that he's just going to stick with Jimmy even if Trey's healthy. Now, you're right. If they beat the Bears this week, as I still think they should, they're the better football team. They're favored on the road. They should win this game. Then Jimmy Garoppolo is going to play the next week. But you know who the next opponent is?
No, who?
It's the Arizona Cardinals, who Trey Lance has already started against. Now, is that good for Trey Lance or bad for Trey Lance? Is Trey Lance's life harder if he plays against the team he's played against before because they've played against him? Or is it easier because he's played against them?
You would have to say it would be easier.
I would argue the same. And I think 6 years ago, 6 years ago, I think you could say it's going to be harder because a running quarterback and some of these RPO things that you're going to do, now they've seen it. But they've been seeing that thing for years. You're not sneaking up on anybody. The stuff that you do with Trey as a runner is familiar to NFL defenses. So there's
you don't think Chandler Jones is what does a running quarterback look like? Oh yeah, we see one every fucking day in practice.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but just defending that in real speed and so I'm with you. I think it'd be easier for Trey, and that's where I think that's where it gets really interesting. And that's what you're talking about is what happens. Not that we should ever assume a win for these 49ers at this point, but I would say it's. I think it's an interesting spot.
Jimmy wins this game. You're 3-4. Kyle's going to go wash. Season's on the line these next 2 weeks against these 2 divisional teams, and I think he'll just roll with Jimmy, which is scary.
Yeah, I think he would roll with Jimmy to a point, but I do think we'd see some of what he initially maybe wanted to do, which is more of Trey Lance. If Jimmy starts, still more of Trey Lance. Because I go back to, I think he is desperate to win. I think he's desperate to win. And I don't think he'd put again, there is no loyalty. He's not loyal to Jimmy Garoppolo. He is not. This is not about loyalty to Jimmy. He's been trying to replace him. So he's not going to default to Jimmy. I think he's frustrated with Jimmy. Now, maybe he doesn't think Trey Lance is ready to do all the things that he can tell Jimmy to do, but Jimmy can't do all the things he's telling Jimmy to do.
No, it's a disaster.
Julio on YouTube says Cardinals D has the advantage over Trey in terms of a rematch. I think it's worse for Trey, in my opinion. I think Arizona's defense adjusts to Trey better than he would adjust to them. Kyle has yet to prove he's a better head coach than Cliff in 2021. Yeah, look, I think there is something to their defense seeing him, but I think their defense would be the same thing in the second meeting in terms of like the good players that he prepared for are good again. I think it's got to help a guy the second time you've seen a team when you're
Kyle went from is he better than McVay to Cliff's now better than Fast. The best part about football.
If Kyle had Kyler, he'd look better than Cliff. Okay.
The best part about football is things change so fast because you lose a couple games, it feels like everything's fallen. And in fairness, you lose 4 straight games in the NFL. I don't care if you're the New York Giants or Belichick or the Niners. Like that's a month of losing. 1 month of losing. And when you factor in there was a bye involved, it's actually probably even a little more. That's a long time of just being a loser. And that's what Kyle is right now, just a loser.
You know, I think that a lot of, and we had this conversation a few weeks ago after Trey's debut against the Cardinals, right? Like there's 2 conversations. Just it's what is it right now and what could it be? And I think right now a lot of the conversations around Kyle are out of fear of it's going to, 2 and 3 is one thing, but then 2 and 4 and then what? And then you said 6 and 10, but that's only 16 games, John. 6 wins is 6 and 11.
That'd be bad.
Right? And that's worse. And where's the hope? And this team has had expectations. So, I think that's where it comes from with Kyle. There's still time to salvage it, but it's going to take some.
I think
some
one
changes.
main issue is you have 2 teams. Now the Cardinals easily could be 8-0, given that Devontae's not making the trip. The Rams play the Texans. Like you have 2 teams that are 8-0 and 7-1 in your own division. And really, Seattle's only 2-5 or whatever because Russell's finger. Like if Russell plays last night, they win, right? I mean, the previous, like they're winning. They beat Pittsburgh 2 weeks ago. Like they would be fine. Now, I don't think they would be as good as even I envision them being, but the Niners would clearly be the worst team in this division. Even a diehard Niner guy can agree with that. Like we saw Seattle with Russell, they beat them. Like it's just they're better.
Yeah, Seattle's in a different boat. Like I know Pete is beside himself, and they've lost. What are they 1-3 at home now this year? Something like that.
Yeah, it's not good.
They're under 500 at home. I saw Pete's press conference. And he was like, I'm at a loss. Like Pete was flustered. But at the end of the day, they can go, all right, this sucks. But Russell
the Niners
Wilson's
are 1-9
out there.
in their last 10 home games.
Yeah, that's a crazy stat.
It's a disaster.
Right? Like, and their starting quarterback is playing. Russell is only out there when he's wearing his Bose headphones doing his pregame thing.
Yeah.
0-3.
Screaming at invisible ghosts. He is pretty into it. He's pretty into it, though. He's like,
do you
telling
think
them
he
all
has
out of the line.
crowd noise? Like, I would love to find out that Russell has crowd noise in those headphones.
Wouldn't put it past him.
Like, he got some recording of, like, some road playoff game and give New Orleans, Bob.
I would not put it past him. Geno and Jameis are terrible.
That would impress me. Yeah, they're both bad. But, I think do you think if Trey, and we'll find out, if Trey's healthy enough to play this week, like if he suits up and he's the backup quarterback, Kyle mixes him into the offense?
Yeah. I don't know how much, but I think Kyle, I mean, let's face it, he's kind of desperate at this point in time to get something going. They can't score points. Like, he's got to find a way to score points.
I think that's part of what people want to see is desperation, right? Like, say what you want, and I'm not saying he should coach like the Lions, but Dan Campbell, I saw somebody tweet this. I don't remember who, but it's what I was thinking watching the game is Dan Campbell coached that Rams game. I don't know how much you saw of it.
Did that game open up with an onside kick?
I don't know if it opened with an onside kick or if they did the onside kick after they had scored. But they went onside kick, fake punt. So it might have opened with an onside kick because they scored twice.
The fake punt was sweet.
So but they coached that game like group of 5 team, power 5 team, nothing to lose. Now that it's hard because they are clearly worse than the Rams. Like the Niners, again, I think are better than the Bears. But I think people just want to.
But to me, it's not about the levels of which you're playing. It's about, like, are you doing anything? Do you have any other pitches? And it feels like Kyle right now is running on fumes. It really does. It just feels like he's at a loss. Like, Pete's at a loss because, listen, my defense fucking played great, but I had Geno Smith as my quarterback, so we lost. It sucked. Kyle's at a loss because it just feels like, what are you doing? Like Ayuk, Baldy keeps tweeting these things out. Ayuk's wide open. What's going on here, Kyle? What is going on?
But John, if Ayuk's open, then it's not Kyle's fault that he's not getting the football. It's the quarterback's fault. Means if Ayuk's open, it means he's on the field and he's open.
But then it gets back to the moment the moment Trey's ready to go, you got to get Trey in there. Like it's not a soul wants to watch Jimmy ever take a snap again if you don't have to.
I think the primary problem, I said this the other day, I'll say it again. The primary problem Kyle Shanahan has right now is Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, part of that's on him.
He chose it.
Yes, that's part of it. And also, we shouldn't be shocked that you'll hear this we talked to Jake Hayner about this in our interview with him. You shouldn't be shocked when you send the message to the quarterback that you want to replace him. You try to replace him several times during one off season. Then you draft his replacement and then he doesn't play at his best. Like, yeah, I would love for every quarterback in that situation to just handle it like Alex Smith. But we always do this. Like, well, he could be Josh Allen. You've pointed that out. Well, Sitting worked a year for Pat Mahomes. Yeah, Sitting has not worked a bunch of times for a bunch of other players. You know what my guess is? My guess is if Mahomes played right away, he still would have turned into Mahomes. And if you had sat him for 3 more years, he still would have turned into Mahomes. And most guys, like Jimmy, just be like Alex Smith. I've said that. Well, most guys aren't Alex Smith. Just most guys aren't. And who's a better player, Alex Smith or Jimmy Garoppolo?
Alex Smith, way better.
So Alex Smith's a better player. He dealt with more adversity. I mean, healthier. So we shouldn't be shocked that Jimmy is not, say what you want about what his ceiling is, that he's not playing up to his fullest capabilities. If you think that, how could we be surprised? His team's tried to replace him 3 times, and I'm pro replacing him. But if you can say be a pro, it's a lot harder to do it than actually say like, hey, okay, play your best football in this circumstance.
I don't think there's even a conversation anymore. The evidence is in Jimmy's average at best. Probably, below average at this point. Like it's just the evidence.
I'm not debating that. That's not the debate. My point is, whatever his ceiling is, he's not. If you think he's not playing to it, we shouldn't be surprised that he's not.
I know personally, like I'm just tired of even thinking about Jimmy. I just want Jimmy to, like I think most people do, go away. And when I say, obviously this year he's not going to go anywhere, but just play the other guy. That's all anyone wants moving forward. The moment Trey can play, he's the starter. Now you don't have to verbalize he's going to start just name him the starter, and then we'll just go from there. And that what scares me, because I fucking know the way coaches are. I think we're farther away from that than people realize, and it could get uglier for Kyle with his equity with just the casual 49er guy in Northern California. And it turns out there are millions of them. They're one of the biggest brands in America. And I would say his approval rating, you think Biden's is down. I would say Kyle's is fucking, oh my God. It feels like it's at an all-time low.
I disagree a little bit. I don't think he's going to override Jimmy. Now, the hard thing is it's hard to know because until Trey's healthy, I don't think he'll ever say Jimmy's only starting because Trey's not healthy. Right?
Yeah, I'm not expecting him to say things.
No. I know. But my point is it's hard. Like, to me, there's a scenario where Trey Lance, whatever this knee issue is, sprain, is not healthy. And if that's the case, Kyle is not going to say, nor should he, well, the only reason Jimmy is starting is because Trey's not healthy.
Of course.
So that's what could complicate it. But my point is, he is not happy with Jimmy Garoppolo. There's not a chance in hell he's happy with him. I don't think he's going to hold on to Jimmy too long.
I hope. I agree with you. He's not happy. I agree he's not happy, but I still think in this weird, the coaches are fucking nuts. He still thinks Jimmy is way better, gives him a better chance to win Sunday what'd they call that thing? Some weird
act of God.
A bomb cyclone or whatever that thing was called on Sunday. It had a weird
monsoon.
Name. No. It was like it was called a bomb river or a bomb cyclone.
Atmospheric. Wasn't it atmospheric something?
No. It had like a
river.
No, it had like a bomb river. It had a specific name that was.
I thought they called it an atmospheric river or something like that.
It was. I just think he said. Beside that, like we could win with Jimmy. He believes that. I mean, we have the evidence. We saw.
They can win with Jimmy, but they're not.
No. We understand that he does not. I think
no. What I'm saying is they can.
I agree. They can. We overrate the way coaches are like pragmatic about things in season. They're just not. Especially when things go wrong and they don't think straight. Atmosphere. I thought it was called like a
Maybe there was another name for it.
Bomb cyclone.
But see, I think if they see the scenario that you're talking about is they beat the Bears, they lose to the Cardinals, right? So then they're 3-5
It was
going
called
into
the bomb
the
cyclone.
bomb cyclone.
Yeah, that's what hit us.
Bomb
cyclone.
monsoon.
Bomb cyclone, atmospheric river.
Those are the same thing, or those different things?
I think they're different things. Yeah. Warned of a bomb cyclone.
That's a way cooler name than atmospheric river.
Way cooler.
So the scenario that you're afraid of, and I don't think you're. Yeah, I mean, I think it's what everyone's afraid of. You beat the Bears, you're 3-4. You play the Cardinals, you lose, you're 3-5. But then you're playing the Rams, and it's like on Monday Night Football, got to get back into this thing. Jimmy gives us a better chance to win today.
I'm telling you, guy, I'm just out on that Kyle mindset of like, gotta like just
no.
I
think everyone's out on that. I'm just saying that's the scenario. I'm just painting the picture of what you're talking about here. That's what that schedule looks like.
Well,
so then you lose that game, and you're 3-6, and you're going to play the Jags, and then Trey Lance plays. It's like, well, cool. Well, it's too late now, right? They're
2-4. Like it's like Kyle, you're done. Just do whatever you got to do to play this guy. But he would never think like that. Coaches don't. Coaches are not. I think we give coaches too much credit about like knowing what to do and the right thing to do, and when it comes to big picture stuff, they are not big picture people. They're just not. It's why so many coaches in basketball and football have made historically poor GMs because they are obsessed with tomorrow.
I think that's correct, but I think people are overrating Kyle's desire to play Jimmy Garoppolo.
But the problem, though, Guy, I would agree, but he doesn't. But his mindset is so short-term oriented, he can't kind of remove himself from Jimmy to Trey.
Yeah, but Jimmy's not winning games. That's the thing. It's like once Jimmy stops doing really stops doing what he's telling him to do, what he wants him to do.
I know in a short-term mindset, it's too late. You could argue it's already ruined him this year.
Would they have a better record if Trey Lance had started from week 1?
I mean, Trey could have been way better by the time they got to the Colts. I mean, they only have 2 wins. So
yeah, that's right. That's really what it's about. Is would he be ahead? Now, could he have lost a game to Philly?
Of course.
Could have.
Yeah, but could he have won one of the other games?
But this is the problem of like, well, are you a championship contender or are you rebuilding? Because when you're rebuilding, who cares that you're losing games, right? The Jags don't care that they're losing games. Trevor Lawrence is playing, right?
Yeah, they made a miscalculation of their team.
They absolutely did. And then they got guys hurt. But yeah, well, Raheem Mostert got hurt. Oh, shit. He's been hurt before.
I know.
Kittle got hurt. Damn it. But he's been hurt before. Ferret got hurt. Ugh. So where were the safety nets built into the guys that have been hurt before getting hurt again? You know? Irony is Jimmy got hurt, but just not for long.